Hello and welcome. I'm your host, William Lou. You are listening to the Raptors Reaction Podcast. Raptors win again, 110-98, outlasting the Portland Trailblazers in yet another rewarding, um, constructive, just resilient win, man. I mean, Raptors found a way to win tonight. They used a total team effort. There were lots of moments where it was like one guy was going and another guy was going. Like it was IQ was doing everything at the start. I mean, IQ's been great. He's really found his form on this road trip. But IQ got them going. Then Mamu stepped up. Then there was a stretch by Ochai that was really good. And then Gradey Dick had like two separate like game-changing shifts off the bench that really, really carried the Raptors for a while. Then it was Brandon Ingram in that third quarter, scoring at will, giving the Raptors lots of life. Mamu playing, a really difficult matchup tonight. Obviously, Mamu as a small ball center against Donovan Clingan, who's 7'2". Like, there's definitely a size mismatch, but Mamu was able to use his skill and score in all sorts of ways in the pick and pop, the pick and roll against him. And then at the end of the game, Scottie, who had been pretty quiet for the first three quarters, just absolutely goes off, carries the Raptors on both ends of the floor, makes a ton of plays, stripping the ball, stealing the ball, double block at the end. I'm sorry, man. I mean, when it comes to my allegiance to my people, my Chinese people versus my allegiance to my Raptors people, unfortunately, I was more allied with my Raptors people on that one, and I was cheering like crazy to see Scottie Barnes blocking the hell out of Henderson Yang. Unfortunately, Henderson looks super soft tonight. It's not a good look. Not a good look for our only Chinese player in the league right now. But it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I mean, Scottie stepped up at the end. Basically, everybody had a little shift there that helped the Raptors like push over the line. I mean, they basically led the entire night too. Credit to Portland, they fought back. I mean, they played really tough. They played a really nice team game as well. Super physical on defense. Jrue Holiday, what a killer. They took the lead like really briefly by like one or two possessions on a couple instances, but generally speaking, the Raptors like really held their mettle, and I think that was good timeouts by Darko. Good, like a couple good moments of execution against the zone. Portland didn't stick with the zone too long. Obviously, that's been an issue for the Raptors for a lot of this season. And obviously, last game against Sacramento, the Kings zoned for like three quarters. So I was a little worried that Portland might go to zone, and they did go to zone to start the second half, but the Raptors solved that as well. And just the timely timeouts, good use of, adjustments. The rotations were managed well. Like it's one of those games where you just have no complaints, and you just feel really proud of the team for how they like came together to win this, man. Like, this was not easy. And I think Portland obviously has been a really plucky team this season. They didn't have Denny Avdia tonight, which obviously, he's like their primary driver on offense, and I mean that literally because he's driving the ball like pretty much as anybody in the league. They didn't have Robert Williams, which I mean is not that big of a loss necessarily, but obviously with Henderson Yang playing as poorly as he did, obviously Robert Williams would have made a bigger impact in a game like this. They'll get Dame back next season. Like Portland's gonna be really fun to watch. Like I've really enjoyed watching Portland all year, and I've enjoyed watching the two Raptors Blazers matchups so far, but at least on this season, Raptors go 2-0 against Portland. They beat Denny, by the way, first off, back in Toronto as well. So I'm not trying to take anything away from the Raptors. They've beaten them, with their best players in the lineup too. But yeah, just a really good team performance tonight. You look up and down the roster. I mean, 7 guys scoring in double digits tonight. Sandro leading the way with 22. I mean, where will we be without Sandro? Let's start there, because that was the biggest matchup of the entire night. Was how are the Raptors going to handle Donovan Clingan, who's like 7'2", 280 pounds, just a man child in the middle, versus Sandro, who's like 6'9" and mobile, but obviously doesn't have the physicality to battle Clingan on a consistent basis. Well, obviously Clingan got his way in several instances. Clingan had 13 points and 16 rebounds and stole the ball 3 times, and there were times where he was single-handedly like carrying their offensive rebounding load. Portland was missing a ton of shots, including starting the game 2 of 21, by the way, which was just kind of absurd. But like Clingan was always going to be a factor. Even when he wasn't scoring or rebounding, he was setting these gigantic screens, which gave Jrue Holiday, and even to a lesser degree Shaedon Sharpe and Caleb Love. Like they gave him a lot of space to attack, and so you had that. But I thought the Raptors planned it really well, man. I mean, obviously you're playing against the guy who's going to be in drop coverage most of the time. So there's going to be a lot of space to play with on pick and rolls. The Raptors used a lot of pick and roll tonight. Scottie running pick and roll with Mamu, IQ running pick and roll with Mamu, and they just consistently got space where, especially with Clingan, like looking to step back and protect the basket, Mamu stepping out to the perimeter or knocking down these wing threes were huge. But of course, that's the thing with Mamu. It's like, unlike a lot of other stretch bigs, like how many years in a row did we covet like Miles Turner, stretch big, stretch big. The thing is, nothing annoys me than when a stretch big isn't on from three and they can't do nothing. Like Mamu has the versatility because he can hit the three, yes, but he can also like roll to the basket and play around the hoop. And there's when a guy's playing in space like that, like you can kind of cut behind them as well, especially because Clingan wasn't moving his feet too much and he was primarily looking to help versus guard his own man. So Mamu slipped behind a couple times too, including for a big and one, rolling to the basket late in the game. Scottie finding him with a two-man game. And of course, like the other thing is it's not just on Mamu alone. Okay, how do we deal with this big guy in the middle? Well, one way is we play fast. And man, I was so impressed with IQ's ability to play fast tonight. I mean, again, IQ has just really come on strong of late. The 40 ball in Golden State was one thing, but he was great against the Kings. He was really great in this one as well. Set the pace early because, again, like both teams were kind of breaking a lot of shots, especially from the perimeter. But IQ was consistently getting downhill, shooting little floaters and push shots. I mean, he's been absolutely money on those because sometimes IQ can get all the way to the rim, but a lot of other times he's got that little floater. The thing is also, as a point guard, you set the pace of the game, right? So if Darko clearly had an strategy tonight of playing really, really fast as possible so that you don't have to face Portland's really good defense in their half court. Well, you need your point guard, first and foremost, to be leading that charge. And I thought IQ was tireless, pushed the pace at every opportunity, scored on his own, knocked down some threes as well, but found a really good balance. And he also touched the paint a lot. That's the thing with IQ is just like, again, similar to the Mamu thing, right? You're not always going to be relying on the threes because that'll leave you, too inconsistent, right? Because the outside shot is just going to be less consistent than being able to play all over the floor. But I really liked IQ's ability to get into the lane tonight. Again, like it's really difficult because they were playing a lot of drop coverage, but at the same time, drop coverage means that if you got a good screen at the top of the floor, it's a 2-on-1 advantage at the top there because the big is not involved until you start driving deeper into the paint. And so with a couple of good screens from his teammates, Mamu, Scottie, guys like that, like IQ was able to get to the middle of the floor. There's one play where he worked a pick and roll with Ochai and he was like, took off the wrong foot, hung in the air, threw it high up off the glass, like above the square, and it still bounced in. Like IQ did a great job setting the pace tonight. And knocking down some threes as well. Like there was a lot of good stretches from IQ. And of course, like, you're never going to go a whole game without Brandon Ingram involved. I mean, Brandon actually was super cold to start. Well, not even super cold. He just wasn't that involved. I mean, the Blazers clearly had a game plan of we're going to zone the Raptors eventually, and we're probably going to we're going to throw a double team at Brandon Ingram as often as possible, right? I mean, to be honest, that is the book on the Raptors, right? That is how most teams choose to play Toronto, and I think that's the correct strategy. But so Ingram couldn't get it going early. Again, like the Blazers were forcing him to pass it. I thought, Ingram did a great job of rebounding. Again, you really needed the gang rebound tonight because of the fact that they had the big and, Mamu's doing what he can. Scottie's doing what he can. But Brandon, as another guy who's like 6'9" with super long arms, like Brandon can get in there for rebounds. And he started the first quarter with 4 rebounds. He was dishing it off too in the first quarter, like making the plays out of the double teams, which was good. I still think there's more improvements to be made there. Made a nice block at the rim as well. Got a couple of steals. So like he was playing sort of like the all-around game for Brandon. But of course, the game for Brandon is that man's going to score eventually. And of course, if he's going to have a slower first half, and if like they're going to be able to feel comfortable with their coverage, they might say, okay, well, we'll scale back a little bit. We'll play a little zone. And I thought Brandon just did a great job of being able to sort of, find his offense. A couple of threes for Brandon, some late shot clock scenarios where the Raptors had nothing and they kind of bailed out. That was one of the big differences in this game was Portland at the end of shot clocks didn't really have a guy to give them a bucket. But Brandon Ingram, when you see Brandon Ingram playing against a shot clock, It's like the countdown on New Year's Eve, right? You know he's gonna get that shot off. You know the ball's gonna drop in, and then you want to kiss somebody because it's so nice to see that type of beauty. Like it's great watching Brandon like get buckets on his own. There's one who was on the baseline against two defenders, fade away against a shot clock too, and he just swishes that thing. Like it's beautiful. He got himself to the foul line a decent amount too for Brandon. Played physical around the basket. Again, like so much of this game was about how they're gonna attack Clingan. And Brandon did a great job of using up fakes, pump faking people, taking the contact, getting to the foul line, being consistent there. Like, I thought he played a really good game. And then the Raptors do not win this game without the contributions off their bench, notably Ochai and Gradey. To be honest, usually when you think of off the bench, you're thinking about Jamal Shed. And Jamal had a really quiet game. Wasn't really the game for him. Defensively, he didn't even do a good job. But I don't know. It just wasn't the game for him, right? Last game, he was great against Sacramento. But, like with most bench guys, you can't expect him to be great every single night. But the Raptors had a great wing combination with Ochai and Gradey coming off the bench tonight. And those two have been two of the most maligned players, two of the guys who have been really underperforming on the year, but of late, Gradey is really turning it around, starting with that Indiana game where he had like the 20 and 10 for his first career double-double, matched the season high in scoring with 21. He's been in double digits, I think 5 of the last 6 games now as well. And I thought Gradey actually had 2 great shifts. First quarter, first half, Gradey had a great run there where, he attacked on a closeout, ripped by his man, saw Henderson at the rim, gave him a little show, and then, went underneath and went for reverse for a layup. I mean, just super athletic move by Gradey Dick. And once again, Hanson, I mean, come on, dog. I mean, all of China's looking at you, man. You can't just let Gradey Dick do that to you. But, that was a really great move by Gradey. And then he hit knockdown 0-3 in transition as well from the wing. I thought his defense was really good too. Pressured the ball, kept the guys in front, got a couple of deflections. Like Portland has a lot of good, like aggressive, like scoring wings. And, I thought Gradey did a great job of staying in front of everybody except for Shaedon Sharpe, who like pretty much nobody can. Like that guy's a little bit of a hack. Like it's kind of crazy how athletic and also flexible he is. He's got a little bit of that Shea thing where like he gets like really low to the ground and has those like ankle flexibility exercises that he does. I don't know, but yeah, he gets tough. And I'm not expecting Gradey to guard Shaedon Sharpe of all people, but yeah, I just thought he had a really great first shift to the game, and he was going out in transition as well. To be honest, like I thought he could have had more points in transition. The Raptors just kept throwing him like the most ambitious passes in transition where they were like overcooking with how much they were throwing the throwheads to Gradey, but Gradey was sprinting like crazy, trying to like do acrobatic shit just to like keep the ball in bounds. Like, he was doing a great job with that. And then in the second half, I thought this was actually even better. But in the third quarter, Gradey Dick came in. And at this point, the third quarter is when the Blazers went to a lot of zone. And Gradey immediately comes in and, steps into a 3 at the top of the floor to beat the zone. I think actually after that, it felt like the Blazers kind of retreated off the zone. So I think that's one of the big things was like Gradey actually knocking down that 3. And I'm talking like he was like super confident, fading a little bit into the catch, and he still shot the 3 with time on the clock and everything. Just like played super aggressive, played his game the way you want to see Gradey play his game. Then you had another play where he pump faked to lift his man on the closeout, drove the lane, and then kicked it to the opposite, or kicked it to the near side corner to Ochai for 3. Ochai missed a shot, but the Raptors were in there for an offensive tap-in. So, this is another really nice play by Gradey Dick there. Another transition dunk for Immanuel Quickley where IQ pushed the break, dumped it off to Gradey, and Gradey in traffic too, got up for a dunk. I mean, Grady's fearless, bro. This guy doesn't care who is at the basket. He's going, and it's almost like he doesn't even regard for his own safety. He's just like, a crash test dummy the way he goes in transition, and he finishes a lot like above the rim too. And then right after that too, he got a steal and pushed it ahead to Ochai. No, sorry, it was Ochai who got the steal, threw it ahead to Gradey, and then Gradey threw the lob back to Ochai, who was sprinting like crazy to beat the entire team down the floor and caught a lob. Like those 2 separate shifts by Gradey Dick were massive. And both instances, the Blazers had like cut the game close, and it was like maybe the Blazers push ahead. They do have some nice bench players as well. Like, there was opportunities there, but I thought Gradey really gave them a huge boost off the bench. And of course, Ochai was right there with them. Like, I mean, Ochai's been, really struggling on this season, like even more than Gradey has. But Ochai tonight with his energy and athleticism, like, this was a good matchup for him because Portland had so many zones for so many wings for him to cover. So at times he took a matchup against Shaden Sharp. He was kind of like the backup assignment on him when it wasn't Scottie doing it for the starting lineup. Jamal took a couple shifts on Shaden Sharp, but Shaden kind of just cooked Jamal. I'm not gonna lie. So Ochai had to do a lot of it as well. But even some of the other wings, like Portland has a lot of physical wings, like Rand, Rupert, Tamani Kamara, even CD Sissoko, like those aren't like offensively potent wings, but they're strong, they're physical, they'll crash the glass. So I thought Ochai did a great job. Sometimes he was playing center too, and like really had to like play around the basket. Did a good job sealing guys and like doing the Gortat screen. I'm like, how did he even know how to do that? Like, when do you even see Ochai ever rolling and sealing his man behind him? But he did a great job of that occasionally. Popped up for some offensive rebounds, was fast in transition, aggressive, looking to dunk the ball. One time he got swatted pretty hard, but like I appreciated like how hard he was going to the basket. And again, like I typically expect, kind of like less than zero really from Ochai. So seeing Ochai and Gradey like step up in that instance was huge. Both of them with 10 points off the bench, and we needed all of those, 20 points from those two guys. And of course, late in the game, you're like, okay, I think Scottie had like 4 points, maybe he might have had 4 points heading into the fourth quarter. And then Scottie just turned it on, man. Scottie was like, all right. Because I was like looking at him like, man, Scottie looks tired. There was a play where like Jrue Holiday kept pump faking, driving. And then like Scottie had to rotate like 4 times on the same play. And he looked so gassed as he was late to close out, and Jrue Holiday wet the 3. So I was like, damn, like he just looks tired. And he looked tired a lot in this game. I mean, to be fair, it's one of these compromise games where they're like, hey, Scottie, go out there and guard Shaden Sharp. Hey, Scottie, we need you to pull a shift guarding, Donovan Clingan. Like, hey, Scottie, like, we just need you to do everything. But, like, of course, he was, as always, like, doing a bit of everything. And I could see how that would get him tired. Obviously, the Raptors on the road, too. Like, there's lots of things. But fourth quarter rolled around, man, and he just started going, man. He had a give and go with Mamu where he fed Mamu at the rim. He had an offensive rebound where he ripped it down, and then he like waited patiently. I think he had Clingan on him, and then he was, playing off 2 feet, showed the ball, middle, got Clingan to commit that side, and then reverse pivoted, spun back, and finished with the layup around the help defender. Like I said in the last episode, like Scottie has very quietly gone so much better at playing off of 2 feet, staying patient, throwing a couple up fakes, and then being able to pivot off both feet and being able to finish with both hands. That's always going to make you dangerous as a scorer in that position, because obviously he's tall, he's long, he's going to get a shot off pretty much every time. But to be able to go both ways off of that, and you're sort of like have to anticipate a guy up faking, like Scottie was just like, has been doing a great job with that. And he really got Clingan to jump out of his shorts on one of those pump fakes. But, had a block at the rim. He had a steal pressuring the ball. He had another like finish at the rim that was really strong and contested. And then to end the game, I mean, this was at this point, the Raptors were already done. Like the game was literally already over. Like it was already 110-98 with like 20 seconds left. But even at the end of the game, right, the Blazers try to run one last play to get maybe one bucket. And Hanson Yang tried to go in there for a little soft floater. Great, like Scottie blocked the hell out of that. They got the rebound. They tried to put it up again. Scottie blocked it again. You look at the end of the night, man, and Scottie Barnes finishes, and this is on a quote-unquote quiet night for Scottie Barnes, ends up finishing with 15 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 6 blocks. Like, come on, man. Like, what an unbelievable effort by Scottie Barnes, especially to close this game. And I don't know where he summoned this energy from, but he was, like, single-handedly carrying the defense for the Raptors. And, like, that's I'm not even surprised at this point. Like, you could just, like, whatever the job needs to win the game, Scottie Barnes has done it. Like, if they need him to score more, he's done it. If they need him to rebound more, he's done it. If they need him to play center, he's done it. Play point guard, he's done it. Guard the wings, guard star point guards, he's done it. Switch a bunch on defense, close the game out, rebound the ball on both ends of the floor, offensive, defensive, make plays defensively. Like, this is, like, what you want from a franchise player is they're engaged every single night, right? They never give up on the fight, right? I see a lot of franchise players around the league that give up on the game, not available, don't really take the same pride, and don't really breathe that life into their team. Scottie's there every single night, literally. Like, I think he's only missed, like, maybe one game. He's there every single night. He is, like, into the game, focused, and, man, like, even on a night where he didn't have it, he pulled out whatever he had, and he gave it to the team, and they won. And that's just how it is. Even at the end of the game, roaring into the crowd, as all you could hear at the end of the Blazers game was "Let's go Raptors" from a bunch of Raptor fans who all traveled down, all coordinated their outfits to wear red, and had like a traveling support section like this was soccer or something. Like that was beautiful. And Scottie like pointing to them after the game, like Mamu, even the Blazers like players looking at them, being like, "That's kind of cool." Like all due respect, but like that's, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's like minus 20 in Toronto right now. I don't know if Scotty knows this, but it's minus 20 in Toronto. You know, people, if you don't need to go outside, do not go outside for the next week, basically. And so we're stuck inside. We're watching, you know, something on TV just to get by. And Scottie Barnes rewards people for staying up till midnight. And the whole team follows in his image, too. That's the thing. Like, the whole team played in that style. So that was great. And then I think the last thing to say before I, you know, take a break, go to your questions as well. It was great to see RJ Barrett back in the lineup, man. You know, like all we've seen from RJ Barrett recently is trade rumors, and you know, it's been a topic of conversation. Obviously, we just had a whole show about, you know, RJ and all the reports around RJ and how the team really wants to, you know, see what they can get for RJ. And this is like at least the second year in a row that they've done this with RJ. Like anytime there's like a off season or trade deadline, they're looking to see like, oh, what can we get for RJ? You know what I mean? But regardless, RJ came back to the lineup after missing the last 7 games with an ankle sprain. The last time we saw RJ, he was like single-handedly carrying the team with like 16 points in that fourth quarter to win that Charlotte game that the Raptors really had no business winning. That was one where IQ hit it the 3 at the end, but they don't do that without RJ. RJ unfortunately turned his ankle the next game, but you know, like he's been snake bitten with injuries, and RJ has been a super healthy player. You know, he had the knee issue and then he had the ankle issue. Generally speaking, like RJ takes so much pride in being available. You know, this is, you know, by far the most time he's missed in terms of these extended absences. He's a pretty healthy player. And, you know, he looked really rusty tonight. I'm not going to lie to you. Like it certainly wasn't one of RJ's best, but even those small moments where RJ was able to get free and he was able to get downhill and the Blazers are pressuring and being physical. And, you know, it wasn't easy to drive from the top of the floor to get downhill. But RJ's like stubbornness, like these awkward in between buckets where he's just like, I'm gonna burrow, I'm gonna dig, I'm gonna try to like, you know what I mean? In another life, RJ would be like a running back, just like finding a little tiny little gaps and just trying to blast through them. And he's trying to like extend like a 4-yard carry into like a 6-yard carry with like an extra little spin and like put the ball out front. Like he's just such a dog in some of these instances where I swear the defense got him locked up, but he's got one more spin, one more pivot in him, a little push shot, a little bang shot. You know, he got himself going a little bit in the second quarter. After a slow start, you know, he was missing some jumpers, you know, missing some free throws. Like, okay, you know, that wasn't great. But seeing him in the second quarter there, going for a little post hook, a little downhill drive, second half, you know, one-on-one scoring against Jeremy Grant, knocking down some free throws. I mean, RJ tonight limited, only played 21 minutes. And despite the cold start to shooting, you know, he finishes with 10 points and 6 rebounds and 3 assists. Played some good defense as well. Had a couple of moments where he was sliding his feet. And he made all his twos, right? Like he was just 0 of 5 from 3, which, you know, we know RJ can be better at that from 3. But, you know, like they needed just one more contributor tonight. And RJ Barrett was able to come out to the lineup. And of course, like, I mean, it's not to say that it's only on RJ, but you look at the Raptors this season, they're 9 games over 500, right? Which is, I mean, first off, that's actually incredible based on what we expected going into the season. The Raptors are now 28-19. So they're 9 games over 500. They're 17-7 when RJ plays. Like, that's unbelievable. They've basically been a 500 team without RJ. And even whatever RJ's got, it just, he has his ability to just give them just enough for that winning formula. And tonight, you know, it wasn't even one of RJ's best games. I'm not trying to gas this game too much. I'm just happy to see him back in the lineup, and I hope he stays healthy and available. But, like, yeah, it was great to see it back in the lineup and just be able to score and give the Raptors a little bit of a boost. So, you know, it was just a well-managed game. You know, I'm not going to speak too much about Mobo just because he made a couple of mistakes out there, and Darko benched him after one play in the fourth quarter. Like, okay, Mobo had a tough first half as well. Like, he had a turnover where he was like trying to be Magic Johnson on the fast break and just threw it away. Blazers went the other way off the turnover and hit a 3. It was like, dude, what are you doing? But in the fourth quarter, the Raptors opened with back-to-back turnovers. And again, it was like a one-possession game at this point, so it's like pretty tight. RJ tried to thread the needle on a pass inside, I believe, to Sandro, or no, to Mobo, because Mobo was playing backup center. and that got picked off. That wasn't Mobile's fault. It was just RJ trying to thread a pass that wasn't there. But the next play down, CD Sissoko was like all over Scottie. And to be fair, they could have called like something because like the Blazers are straight up like hand checking the whole entire game. But whatever, I'm not trying to complain about the rest. You know what I mean? It is what it is. It wasn't really the story tonight, but they were really hand checking. They're letting a lot of stuff get away with like just at the point of like the defense. And so Scottie was trying to like shed Sissoko, and Mobile just comes over and just two hand shoves the guy, and the guy falls over, and literally Darko was like, yeah, no, Mom will get back in the game, Mom. Like, yo, we're like, I was like, damn, this guy got benched after like 30 seconds, man. It was, but I mean, still, I mean, if it's a fourth quarter instance, I don't really want to see, Mobile like that. I mean, hopefully Mobile is able to find some level of confidence. I just hate how often he hangs his head too. Like, at least like play with some confidence and keep your head high, keep your energy good. Like, I think some of this like pessimism is starting to like, I mean, he seems like a positive guy too. Like, so I think he wears it really poorly when things are really struggling for him. And it's hard. Like, I'm not saying that like he's got to like just be delusional and be like, I'm super confident, I'm such a great player on a season where he's barely been played and barely been empowered. So I understand he's a human being and he hasn't been empowered much this season. But I think for his own sake, like he's got to come in there and play, better than what we saw tonight. But again, like there's no real complaints. The Raptors won as a team, played really good defensively, started out great. I mean, again, holding Portland to like Portland had like 6 points with like 3 minutes left in the first quarter, man. It was unbelievable. But yeah, like the Raptors played great defense all throughout. Only guy that really hurt them was Jrue Holiday, who played a bunch of pick and roll. And man, Jrue Holiday playing at his own tempo, just like using the screens, being patient, taking his time, and then getting into the lane and hitting layups and hitting floaters and hitting mid-range jumpers and hitting threes. I'm just like throwing great passes. I was like, damn, like what couldn't you even do? It doesn't even feel like he's playing that hard. And he was killing. But outside of that, the Raptors did a great job. They, for the most part, they kept a lid on Shaedon Sharpe too, because Shaedon had been averaging, I think, like 26 or 27 recently. Again, the Blazers were like 9-2 heading into this game in January, so they've been one of the hottest teams in the league, period. But holding Shaedon Sharpe to 21 points on 10 of 23 shooting, like I'll take that any day. And of course, I think that's a credit to Darko's game plan, Scottie's on-ball defense, Ochai, Jamal all took turns on this guy. The team defense overall, how they played around their size mismatch. I mean, yes, it was a mismatch with Portland being bigger, but it was also a mismatch with the Raptors being smarter and more skilled playing against that player. And that's how the Raptors got the win tonight. So super proud of the team. Really, really nice result. And we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take your questions. And we'll just kind of hang out a little bit because, it's cold as hell outside, man.
This segment is brought to you by Table Fare and Social. Get your pregame bites and after-work drinks at Table.
It's a great location, right across the street from the arena and just steps away from Union Station and the Metrolinx bus terminal.
Will, I love my wedge salad, but there's plenty of options at Table. What should we have next?
Oh, we can have salad for days, my friend.
Oh, you're talking about salad days? I love salad days, man. They got a different salad for every day of the week. You can never get tired of the options there.
Oh yeah, I heard about this place. This was your go-to lunch spot forever. You always said the lettuce was so crispy.
Man, it's so crispy and fresh, and now this can be your go-to meal before Raptors games.
I like that. Grab a pregame salad at Table Fare and Social right across from the arena. Okay, welcome back to the program. We're going to take your questions. But first, let me show you the pictures from post-game. All right, first off, Mamu getting the chain. Oh, yeah, look at that cinematic, photo right there. But Mamu getting the chain. Who are the people celebrating there? Oh, are those? Oh, did they celebrate with the traveling Raptors fans in Portland? That's so sick, man. But yeah, Mamu getting the chain, well deserved. Led the team in scoring. I mean, once again, scored 20 points. I mean, 22 tonight for Mamu. Like, what will we be without Mamu, man? He's legitimately been the best free agency signing that the Raptors have had, maybe ever, most likely ever, and he has been massive. Tonight had to, David versus Goliath situation, and he slayed the Goliath that is 7'2" Donovan Clingan. Here's some more photos as well. Oh, yo, that's so sick, man. Raptors brought the traveling fans, because like some of these fans are out there in the back, so they're just celebrating with the traveling fans. Yo, that's sick, man. Again, very cinematic photos, I gotta say. And then, yeah, here we go. the whole entire team with the fans as well. Like this is so dope, man. Whoever the idea this was, like this was so cool, man, because the Raptors obviously have like two traveling fan bases that you always really notice their presence, right? It's Portland, which is like the closest, city in America to Vancouver, and there's a lot of West Coast fans that drive down every year to watch the Raptors play. Portland, obviously, that only happens once a year. In the past, that could have been Seattle. Actually, in the past, I would have just straight up been Vancouver, but whatever, right? So, like, all those beautiful Pacific Northwest basketball fans, and there's such a rich tradition and history of basketball in the Pacific Northwest. Like, Portland is kind of like the only team really for them, but like seeing them all drive down, I mean, that's at least like a 5 hour drive, I would believe. Beautiful drive, but yeah, like seeing the fans come out there has been great. And then of course Detroit's also really good as well. Raptors have a lot of traveling fans in Detroit. Obviously, it's just across the border. It's only like a 3 hour bus ride from Toronto, but like. Yeah, this is dope, man. I mean, this is kind of like what the scenes that you see in like soccer matches, right? So like for example, me and Super Intern Krem, we're big Liverpool supporters. Liverpool, please get the result tomorrow against Bournemouth, okay? But we saw in the middle of the week, Liverpool traveled to Olympique Marseille to play, Marseille, and yeah, like in every sort of travel like soccer like stadium, there's like a dedicated like portion of tickets that they sell for the traveling fans. And obviously it's easier to do this in Europe. Like it's pretty easy to fly in Europe. Like Liverpool, I actually did the flight from Manchester to Marseille this year. That's actually where I saw Kevin Herter on my flight, which was hilarious because it was literally a Jet2 Holidays airline, and it was I think $150 like Canadian to fly from Liverpool to Marseille. Oh no, from Manchester to Marseille. It was a 6:30 a.m. flight. And again, it was literally a Jet2 holiday. And yeah, like it was very funny seeing Kevin Herter on this flight because he also didn't sit in first class either. This man also taking $150 Jet2 vacations like me. But any case, yeah, like there's like a huge traveling supporting fan base. And of course, like Liverpool got the result, for example. They got a 3-0 win over Marseille. And after the match, like you're seeing the players always go over and clap to the fans and celebrate with the fans. Sometimes they even jump into the crowd, for these like celebrations. Obviously it's a little closer there. Can't quite do that in basketball, but like this is cool, man. Like I think there's such a difference in this type of like traveling fandom. It doesn't really happen much in North America. You just look at the NBA Cup, for example. Like, look how dead those crowds were in Vegas because like the fans weren't traveling to go see their teams, play in some of those instances. But and you're seeing like, for example, Victor Wembanyama, like literally put out together a whole initiative to have like I think they're called like the Coyotes or like the Crazy Coyotes or something. But like they like the Jackals, maybe the Jackals. But they like he's like tried to like actually put like resources behind developing a traveling fan base for the Spurs. And it's like a super fan base. I think it's like a super rowdy fan base section for the actual Spurs games. Like they're like the ones that cheer the most. I think the Bucks have done a similar thing where they've had like a dedicated fan section. Atlanta has like a bit of a dedicated fan section. They have the Clippers. The Clippers built the wall, right? Like literally to like encourage people to cheer at their very boring product. Although the Clippers are actually playing a lot better recently. So, but still, like, what I mean? Like, they're the Clippers, right? But the fact that the Raptors never really have to resort to these gimmicks because, like, the Raptors' home crowd is always very strong. But then we also have these road crowds, too. Like, I remember, I mean, this is the NBA Finals, but, like, 2019, like, I was at every single game, including all three in Oakland. And, like, it was amazing because like after the championship was over, like you're walking onto I'm walking onto the court. I mean, first off, I got onto the court with no credential. Okay? I mean, I had my media pass, but like certainly no NBA credential, and I got onto the court no problem. Nobody harassed me. Okay, not like what happened with Masai. But like I'm staying on the court for like I don't know, like an hour afterwards, just like seeing the celebration, going into the locker room, coming back out, looking at the celebration, and there's like 3 entire like sections full of Raptor fans. And man, it's got to be really cool. And I think this is one of those moments that really affirms to the Raptors players themselves, to the organization, like just how much it is important to play for the Raptors, man. Like this, you have a whole country behind you, and like we're willing to go Like it's not even close. Vancouver to Portland's far. Like it's not actually that close. This would be like Raptor fans driving to like Cleveland or something, or maybe Raptor fans driving to like well Chicago's like not 8.5 hours. But you know what I mean? Like it's not necessarily close, but the dedication, and I'm happy the players actually went over and celebrated with the fans. I know this is a long, just a long way of saying it's cool to have fans, but yeah, it is very cool to have fans. This is very unique, man. So, um, yeah, very cool. Okay, let's get to your questions. In the chat, let's start with Quickley and Mamu. We're dialed in tonight. Great team win. Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, it's funny watching them play more pick and roll in this game too, especially considering like Quickley's playing better recently. And they were trying to attack the drop against Clingan, so they were directly playing more pick and roll. But like, yeah, I mean, IQ played great again. Like the ability for him to like score with that little push, like the little push floater, that was amazing because he can get it in the half court, but he can also get it in transition, pushing the pace like that before the defense sets. Shot a couple threes, like he had again like a really nice game. Handling the game as a point guard. 7 assists, only 1 turnover. There's always a lot of complaints about IQ not being a good point guard. I thought he played the point really well tonight and operated the pick and roll. And then Mamu, I mean. I know I put a lot of emphasis on the Mamu thing, but like that was like the whole game was how is Mamu gonna handle that big of a center on the other end, and is he gonna be able to dish it back? And I mean Clingan did a great job. I'm not gonna lie, but like Mamu outplayed him. I mean Mamu was a plus 25 tonight, right? Mamu was a plus 25. Obviously he led the Raptors in scoring. He actually led the entire game in scoring with 22, but. Like, he played great, man. Was in transition as well. Played tough, played physical. In the moments where he had to really scrap and battle. And, like, I mean, we're talking about a guy who has to, like, jump 3 or 4 times to scrap for a loose ball just, like, because Clingan's bigger than him. But there were lots of instances where he, like, fought off the big to get a rebound, too. Like, he did a great job, man. Yeah, Mamu's only been with the Raptors for like half a season, and I already need him to be a lifetime Raptor. I don't care. He can't be going. He can't be going to other franchises after this. Okay, Mamu, you're ours. Okay, we just had you celebrate with the traveling parties of fans. Like you're ours now. Okay, you can't go anywhere, man. Where would life be without Sandro Mamukelashvili? Scottie's double block was crazy. Yeah, just at the end of the game. I mean, his defense overall in this game was great. Super disruptive. Again, like. The one thing with Mamu is you're not expecting him to sort of be that rim protector, and so the Blazers were running a lot of pick and roll at him, and especially Holiday was able to like really carve the team apart. And Mamu's not going to give you much support on that end, but I think Scottie with the help side defense is always something he's been great at. And today Scottie started on Sharp, but then he guarded Clingan a little bit. He guarded Holiday at certain points as well. And then he was the help defender, rotating over. Like, he just did a great job. And, of course, the double block at the end is just... I mean, honestly, it's just like... It's a mentality. The game's not over. You still want to get a couple layups in. You want to play soft even at the end of the game. I'm going to block the shit out of you. I hate that it happened against my boy Henderson, but... again, when it comes to if I'm Chinese or if I'm Raptors, I'm Raptor man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My passport says Canadian now. It is what it is, Yeah, related to that, I'll never, no matter what, question Scottie's effort to win again. You know what? I think that's like a really totally fair thing to say. I think in previous seasons, like he had to work up to this point where, sometimes he would get frustrated with referees, or he get frustrated with how the game's going, or guys not passing the ball, or whatever you want to say. Like things not going right, the matchup being bad, the Raptors being bad, and he would tap out. The engagement to every single game, to like every single moment, like Scottie's been incredible on that front. And like, that alone is a really rare thing. You know what I mean? Like he's just engaged in every single game this season, and I mean. It's not easy to play the way Scottie plays. Scottie's not playing off of talent, man. I mean, he obviously is very talented, but like, it takes a lot of effort to play like Scottie. He takes a lot of bruises. He takes a lot of bumps. He has to play through contact. He's blocking shots. He's playing defense. Like, it's a lot of the unsexy stuff. But if your franchise player is like down to do the sexy, like the hard work, the grimy stuff, then it really changes a lot for you. And it sets the tone for everybody. Like if the best player on the team is willing to do all these things, then how can you not follow suit? You know what I mean? So that's culture. You know what I mean? When you think about team culture, like that is culture. And yeah, that was great to see. Yeah, we're doing all this without our starting center. I mean, yeah, that's the thing too. Like at certain moments, there were like Clingan was in there like abusing guys, pushing guys around, and sometimes when he got the rebounds and dunks, I'm just like at one point like Gradey Dick was trying to box out Donovan Clingan. You know, it's like okay, all right, like that's not gonna work. But like yeah, I mean, but like that's what Jakob's supposed to be doing. You know what I mean? And like man, it would be so nice at this point with how much Sandro's played well and with CMB, and it looks like CMB might be around the corner. So CMB could play against OKC. Although I'm not gonna lie to you, if CMB's got a bad thumb, I don't want to see you play against OKC. I don't want to see Alex Caruso slap your thumb and not have that not be called as a foul. Or Lou Dort, torpedo in your knees. I'm good. Actually, I'm totally good if the Raptors want to bench everybody for OKC. I just give them the win. Like, I don't even want to see like that wrestling match against Toronto's players. I'm good. Like, seriously, I'm good. But like, yeah, like I think for the Raptors, like you just need a matchup center. Like, you know what I mean? Like 24 minutes of a 7-footer being smart, being solid, and matching the physicality of the other team. And at least this is for the regular season. I think for the playoffs, you're going to need a more dedicated and better versions. Obviously, the deeper you want to go in the playoffs, the better your roster's got to be. Like, that goes without saying. But even in some nights like this, like, I do feel like, we're just getting by with, like, Sandro and Scottie, like, playing the center position or CMB doing it. And it's a good look. Seriously, small ball can be a really good adjustment against these guys. But I also watched a lot of this game tonight, and I was just like, I wish we also just had, like, even 20 minutes of Jakob tonight would have been great. You know what I mean? So, but yeah. But we don't have it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? We don't have it. Part of this too. I think the front office should lobby to pay the tax and keep this squad together. Top 4 in the conference should give leeway to go into the tax. I mean, yes and no. Look, the Raptors have had other seasons where they have been, top of the conference. Like when the Raptors were winning 56 games, when the Raptors won 53 games. Raptors had been like the first seed before in 2018. They were the second seed in 2016. They were the 4th seed in 2015. They were the 3rd seed in 2017. They were the 2nd seed in 2020. Those years, they were never in the tax. So I do think that like the Raptors will find ways to manage around it. I honestly think that like even with as good of a season as Mamu's having, especially with free agency kind of dead right now, I'm expecting Mamu to get like the mid-level, which I think is like 13-ish. So that would be a significant raise over the 2.5, but he's obviously earned it, right? He plays like the best player sometimes. Well, not the best player, but like a really like starting level player, right? So I think you get a bump to the mid-level. I do think that next year the cap's going to rise to the point where I'm like, okay, like the Raptors will probably be able to keep Mamu at that level. Again, I think for Mamu, he's going to recognize how great of a fit it was in Toronto, how much this team has brought the best out of him, and how much, he can continue to succeed and grow in this team. Like if it's a difference between one other team's offering another $2 million and Toronto's like, we can't go that high. I think for Mamu, like it's not my money, so it's easier said than done, and he hasn't really been paid much in his career yet, so that's a factor too. But ultimately, you got to recognize like I could grow into like a long-term player here in Toronto, and I'm not gonna go play in a different system, take more risks. Maybe the locker room's different, maybe I don't get along there, and just like take the quick money. Like I think you got to take a long view of his career in mind, but. I think the Raptors can actually duck the tax next year too. I don't really see why they couldn't for next year as well. But yeah, but also you could not duck the tax and just pay it. But I don't know. I doubt that that's what they're gonna do. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think that that's what's gonna happen here. Oh yeah, we got some money in the chat too. My bad. Hold on. Ian, is this Ian from Malta again? Sends in €24. Says I want to shout out Garrett Temple. His presence, his guidance, his leadership, the friendships, these things make a massive difference, even at this level. Mamu in the post-game interview said that it works because they're friends. You know what? This is what we said at the start of the season when the Raptors were winning, and obviously the Jays were like the talk of the town at that point. But like, Raptors got some of those Jays vibes, man. Like the power of friendship. Like, you know what I mean? You look at some of these teams around the league, they're dysfunctional, they're lifeless. Like I also like, I was watching again, like, because it was like it's freezing right now, right? Literally freezing in Canada right now. So I'm like toggling between all the other games. Like I watched Boston versus Brooklyn. I mean, that was a really, really good game. Went to double overtime. Boston came back. They came back from down 4 with like 20 seconds left and somehow forced the second overtime. They won the second overtime. Um, I watched Houston versus Detroit as well. Super physical matchup. I watched a bit of the Pelicans versus who are the Pelicans playing? Pelicans. Memphis. Yeah, they beat Memphis. Um, I'm watching a lot of these other teams. I was watching, like, even at the end of this game, I was like flipping channels between watching Raptors Blazers and also watching Bucks versus Nuggets. And the Nuggets were like super shorthanded. Like, obviously they've been shorthanded without Jokic, but like I think they didn't even play Jamal. They didn't play like Peyton Watson. They were just playing like their end of bench guys, and they were still winning. And it turns out they won by 2 over the Bucks. Like, looking at Giannis, like Giannis was like super disengaged, and like there's just, especially 2 weeks before the trade deadline, like guys are like, there's a lot of locker rooms that realize there's nothing going on, right? Like Sacramento, they realize they're gonna tear that thing down. Sabonis, by the way, Raptors trade target, played well, had like 20. I was watching that game too. What do you have? He had like 20. What does Sabonis have? Yeah, 24, 16, and 6. Unfortunately, Evan Mobley, who he was guarding, had 29. So if you're that bad defensively to let Evan Mobley have 29, then, that's a real problem. Like, come on, get some help. But, like, that's why you've been watching Pacers Thunder. Like, there's certain teams that, like, realize that there's nothing left to play for already. And there's no connection. Even after big plays, there's not that camaraderie. Like, the Raptors have culture, man. Like, it's visceral. It allows the team to sort of play together, and they play with trust too. Like, like the amount of time, and this is one of the things that's like pretty easy with trust to see. But like Raptors, if they have Ochai Agbaji open in the corner, they'll still pass to him, even though Ochai's shooting like 15% from 3 maybe on the season or something like that. They'll still make the pass to him. Gradey Dick's been struggling. They'll still keep pumping the passes to him. Like, they play team basketball no matter what. They could have easily said, okay, the game's tough, it's physical, it's grimy, okay, we're going to play iso ball, we're going to play conservative, limit turnovers, and play through Scottie, play through, Brandon Ingram, and they don't really do that. And part of the reason Brandon Ingram's stats aren't bigger is just like, he's playing in a team. And I think for him, it's probably really refreshing too. But yeah, a lot of it starts with the leadership. And you know what? For a guy making just the minimum at the end of the bench, I mean, you're not going to play most of these guys anyway. Like, in terms of who's actually going to lift the culture of the team, like, I think Garrett's great for that. I mean, I was also looking over the bench, and Elijah is one of my favorites on this team, and he had his moment for a week, and now he's back kind of out the rotation again because they're turning back to Ochai, and he's playing great too. So like it's a good decision for Darko to do at the moment. But like every time I look over the bench, like Elijah's celebrating, he's engaged, he's up. You know what I mean? It's just like there's an energy around the Raptors, man. Like, and it makes it appealing to play for too. Like, so, yeah. I'm not saying all that's Garrett, but I think in terms of how you're gonna spend the money on the last minute in your rotation, like that's got to be that's a good use of the funds. You know what I mean? We don't need to extract like every last win out of every last player. Like, I think that having a guy to like maintain your workplace culture is very, very important. We also got Tom sending in 15 Australian dollars. Crap, you good, buddy? Okay, get out of here, man. Tom sends in, this has to be one of the best teams I've watched in so long. On court and also connected and good friends. They are off the court. Don't even care if it's a first round exit. I can feel how they're building. Yes, I mean, honestly, if we take a step back, and it's not entirely like just about, I mean, you really get this once, first season to sort of like be stress free, let it like happen, and go in with low expectations and be pleasantly surprised. Like, outside of contending for championships, like this is like the best feeling you can get as a fan when you get to have the team surprise you and exceed expectations, and seeing a young team grow for the first time and emerge. Like, that's always one of the most fun seasons. Like, my goal for the year, like best case scenario, was to have like that 2013-14 Raptors season where we didn't expect how it was going to go. Obviously, that year was totally different. They traded Rudy Gay. They nearly traded, Kyle. Maybe would have traded DeMar. You don't know. But then after the Rudy Gay trade, they went 42-22, and they finished with 48 wins. And they were the first round out. But you're like, oh, they're building something. Like, like their franchise players are like starting to emerge. You know, Kyle and DeMar took responsibility of the team. I thought Dwayne Casey really stepped up as a coach of the team as well, and there was an identity forming, and the young guys were setting, taking steps. Like Terrence Ross was stepping forward that year, and Jonas Valanciunas. Both of those guys established themselves as starters. Their bench started coming in after that Rudy Gay trade, which gave them a lot of good depth. Like it felt like they had something, and of course you're building from there. You know, what I mean, the next year it was exciting for the first half, and then it was really bad for the second half, and they got swept. Then they kept building, but it's like they had something, and that thrust of that first little push is huge. And all these things that like, Darko's been trying to build with this team, even when the team was like struggling and losing. And even I was so frustrated with Darko at certain moments and felt like he was like being too nice and felt like, they were literally trying to throw games last year. I mean, in the first year of the rebuild, you had Jonte Porter literally throwing games. In the second year of the rebuild, you had the Raptors intentionally benching everybody at the end of games to throw games. Like, it was a lot of bullshit, really, right? And they're trading a lot of players, whatever, but like through it all, they kept the guys engaged. They brought in some nice young pieces. They keep making more and more attachments to the group in terms of like Mamu, CMB. These guys are good. Brandon Ingram's great. You know what I mean? Like these are like 3 big hits in a row for Bobby, especially now that he's taken over as like the top guy as a GM. Like all these things are coming together, and this is a big year for whether or not you are going to be able to move long term with. I mean, Scottie and Brandon at the top. Or Scottie as the 1, Brandon is the 2. Are you going to move forward with Darko as the coach? Are you going to move forward with Bobby as the guy? And like they needed this season to come together as it did. And of course, we're only halfway through it. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say that there's not going to be a stretch where they lose like 3 or 4 in a row and they might hit some more injuries. You never know, right? Like the season's long and who knows how they do in the playoffs, if they even get to the playoffs. But like you're clearly seeing something here, and it's pretty close to best case scenario for the Raptors, because you might even argue the Raptors actually gave away a bunch of games. They really owed that one in Charlotte where they went cold down the stretch and lost in overtime. That loss to the Clippers, the same kind of deal. They went cold down the stretch and lost in overtime. The game against the Lakers, they should have won that game as well. Like, there's a couple other games the Raptors have actually thrown away as well that you might even say the Raptors could be better than the position that they're in. But even if you take a step back, and again, you look at it, 28 wins, that's 2 more than the Knicks, that's 2 more than the Cavs. 28 wins is second in the East right now, behind only Detroit. They have more wins than Houston, the Lakers, Minnesota, Golden State, Phoenix. Like, a lot of these teams they beat as well. They've straight up like beaten Orlando in the matchup they played against them. They've beaten the Heat twice. They've swept the Hawks. They've swept the Cavs. They swept the Blazers. They swept the Warriors. Like, man, like really, really good stuff. Like, seriously. And they make it worthwhile watching it every single night. Like, I don't know how many fans tapped out of like the last couple of seasons because they're like, okay, they're just a wasted time, really. We're just rebuilding, and I mean, I was there for some of those games, man. Like, I had friends of mine who like had premium seats, like literally like premium seats, like right around the Raptors tunnel, and they're just giving tickets away. And I had to message like 4 or 5 friends just to get somebody to take the tickets. And when they actually took the tickets, all they saw was the Raptors lose by 40 to the Pelicans. You know what I mean? And it was so bad that I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to sit in media row. I'm going to come sit on the empty seats beside you and just like hang out with you because like I feel bad for inviting you to see a 40-point slap. That was like only like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? So yes, like please enjoy this, man. Like just please see what we have here. And we might make adjustments to the team, and they might do some trades. And honestly, the team's flowing in such a good spot right now. It makes me like less eager to make like a bigger trade. I'd rather make a smaller trade just to sort of keep the core group the same way it is. Of course, I trust the front office to do what they want to do, and take the opportunities that are there. But it's a good stuff. It's a good time, man. We're really blessed to have this season. Speaking of which, blessed to have all these donations as well. $7 comes in. Hey, Will, seems like when Scottie and Brandon are on the bench, the offense gets really stagnant. How can they fix this? They don't have to play both of them on the bench. I think today, the players looked a little tired. Scottie in particular looked tired. So I think Darko really managed the minutes well. But yeah, so there were stretches where they were going to the bench lineups, and I think they maybe had like IQ sort of lead some of those bench lineups, but yeah, ideally you're just staggering them so that you have at least one of them on the court at once. But yeah, but That's more than anything else. I think especially with RJ and IQ back, and hopefully they stay in the lineup and stay healthy for a nice stretch here. I think you could maybe get away with a little bit more if you put both of those guys in the lineup together because they play off of each other really well. But yeah, tonight wasn't really quite one of those nights. Jrue sends in $7. Scottie for Defensive Player of the Year. Scottie's ending Canada-China relations after that block. Please trade RJ and Quick for a real 7-foot big, not Sabonis. No, it's all good. Actually, very happy with as a Chinese Canadian, I'm actually very happy with this development. Comrade Carney, thank you, okay, for opening the doors. I mean, no, seriously, just make pragmatic global decisions. China's a reliable trade partner, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're not threatening your sovereignty. We just want to make equivalent trades, and that's kind of the agenda. So I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm biased because I'm like Chinese and Canadian, but like, yes, I would like to see these two nations work together. Thrilled that we've taken away visas to have to visit China, because it's like, if you want to visit China previously, and obviously, I just gone back last year, like it costs like $160 to get a visa for like, I mean, it's a 10-year visa. So, to be fair, it's, it's a one-time fee, but it's like, it's annoying. You got to go apply. You got to go to this like weird office around St. Patrick's Station. You got to wait in line. There's like a million Chinese people in there. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, like it sucks, because you can just get it. You could travel to so many other places. Like the Canadian passport is such a powerful passport in general, but yeah, small stuff like that. I mean, electric cars. I mean, I mean, you just look up any of the electric cars they drive in China. Like they're very advanced. They're very premium. Again, like having gone back to China last year, especially in the big cities like Shanghai, Guangzhou, Hong Kong, where my hometown is in Tianjin, which is the map behind me here. Beijing, like pretty much all the cities across China, like you would not believe the infrastructure. Chengdu, I was in Chengdu recently as well. Like you would not believe the infrastructure, man. You're like coming back from the future when you come back to Toronto. I'm not even kidding, and that's not disparaging. I'm just saying that like I think there's a lot of lessons to follow there, and there's some real beneficial things that could come out of it. Even taking like levitation, like bro, I took an airport train, like I guess the equivalent of the Up Express from like Toronto has like the UP Express that goes from Union to Pearson. And I'm like, it's like the best transit in the city by far. It's like, it's like I take it often from Bloor because I live near Bloor Go. So I take it there and I go to Scotiabank Arena, and it's like you get there in like 7 minutes, and the train comes every 15 minutes and it's never delayed. It's like literally the best transit in the city by far. And it probably goes like 60 kilometers per hour, maybe, obviously with no traffic because it's on a train track. Like, I was on the Magneto, like the airport shuttle version, I guess, of the train in China, and the Magneto levitation train was 700 kilometers per hour, man. Like, it was absurd. So anyway, yeah, please make the pragmatic choice. I was actually really happy with sort of how Canada decided to go on that decision there. And the U.S. is very erratic right now, man. I mean, I think the entire world sees it, right? So we got 279 here from Gagandeep. Is Sandro a priority re-signing next season? Absolutely he is. I think again we got to see how the rest of the season goes, and I know we're all really enthusiastic and we're really happy. Mamu's fit perfectly, and there will be competition to sign Mamu in the offseason. And that's like a good problem, but I do feel like even though the Raptors don't have restricted rights or anything over him, I think we have clearly the inside edge considering. I mean, look at what we've like. I know it's been a great audition for Mamu to see what he can do, but I think for Mamu, it's been a great audition to see what the Raptors can sort of bring out of him too. So I think there should be credit on both sides, and I think they should keep it all going together. Stevie Wonder, okay, sends in $11.11. When do you think the next year the Raptors win the championship? And are you talking about levitation? Yes, I was talking about the magnetic levitation. Listen, man, you put those trains in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you would not believe how fast some. Okay, and whatever. I'm not even gonna brag about some of that stuff. I'm just saying, like, sometimes you got to go see it for yourself. When do I think the Raptors win the championship next? I don't know, man. I think the Raptors have a position where, especially under the current management under Bobby, like they're gonna try to stay fluid. They're gonna try to make the opportunistic trades when they're there. And like this is a team that's willing to go for it in those moments. And I think that right now we clearly don't have like a top 5 player, which is what you need to contend and win championships. I mean, you look at 2019 for the Raptors, for example. Like we had 1 year where we had a top 5 player. I would argue Kawhi was the top 1 player in terms of the best player in the world in the playoffs that year was Kawhi Leonard. Like we had it for one time, and that's the one time we contended, right? So they have to sort of figure out the next time a player like that's available and actually try to spring for that trade. And to be honest, like that's hard. Like even right now, and as great as Giannis is, like I'm not even that enthusiastic about the Giannis trade right now because number one, it will cost you Scottie to do it probably, and number two, I'm just like I don't know. I don't really see Giannis as a top 5 player going forward. You know what I mean? And that's crazy to say because Giannis is Giannis, but like it's hard. But I mean, I trust the team to be flexible to make these marginal moves. And I think that the other way obviously is the Raptors could build from like the middle in the sense of like rebuild, which is like you tear everything down and you play for picks, and maybe you gamble in the lottery like that and you get somebody. Like that's basically the Spurs model, right? Or OKC's model was they kind of did that. And they got their top end talent that way, right? Because Victor's gonna be a top 5 player, or like Shea is a top 5 player. Like that's how they get some of these guys. But I think for Toronto, like building from the middle is a viable strategy as well. And building from the middle means that you're just not tanking every single season. Obviously, the Raptors will tank. We've seen them tank like 3 of the last 6 years. So it's not something they're adverse to. But I think that like by maintaining good team culture, by maintaining an appealing place to play, by keeping business like, well running and stuff like that, like and I also think that once you win, it kind of increases the value of your players. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like if Brandon were to hit the market right now, he'd be getting a lot more than what the Raptors traded for Brandon in the first place. I think the value of Scottie Barnes around the league is like super high right now. Of course, you're not going to trade any of these guys. I'm just saying, like once you start actually winning, it raises the profile of all your players because they show that they're able to win in a winning environment. So I don't know. And again, like if you want to point to like how an example of a team winning a championship from building from the middle, that's what the Raptors just did. Like, I mean, I know it's just saying that because like 2019 was really like 6 years ago now, but like, yeah, I think that they're going to keep building on the strategy. Do you know what I mean? So, we got another $3 here, 333. Wow, these are some strange denominations. Yeah, Scottie's a what tier player in BI. I think Scottie is, I would say that tier 2. So like, there's probably like top 5 in the league. I think Jokic, Shea, I mean, per minute impact wise, Victor has some inconsistencies, but I think ultimately you got to put Victor in that as well. I mean, this year Luka's not even there for me. I guess Steph, like outside of like that clear like top end like cheat code players, like I think he's in the second tier. And the only difference is that he can't take over the game scoring like those other guys can. But the way he's able to bring everything else is great. And then BI is kind of a tier 3 star. Like, like all-star caliber, really happy to have him. Does a lot across the board. Certainly does something that, the Raptors really need, which is to get a bucket and score on all 3 levels. Like, I've been super appreciative of Brandon ever since he's come here. And I've getting a new appreciation for him. Like, but yeah, like he's... yeah, tier 3. I would say tier 3. Kind of that Pascal tier, you know what I mean? So, got some other questions as well. I know not everyone to send in funds, and that's okay. I appreciate everyone who did send in funds. I like this team. Don't want to tear it apart. A nice young big will be a great ad. Nothing pricey. That's the thing. Like, I think that, especially considering you go on this road trip. I mean, the first game of the road trip looks super rocky. Raptors getting rocked by the Lakers, getting, unable to solve a zone, unable to hit a 3. Lakers just, like, tore the Raptors apart. I mean, the Lakers have been a disaster ever since LeBron came back. So, and I guess, no, that's not true. Ever since Reeves went down, okay? That was a big impetus. But LeBron coming back actually coincided a little bit with that. But, they've been a real mess. But the Raptors losing like that to the Lakers, like, it felt like, especially because Colin Murray-Boyles went down that in that game as well, it felt like the Raptors could go 0-5 on this road trip. Like, it was going to be a really difficult... Like, we were all dreading going on this road trip. We were like, oh, man, we were lamenting the fact that the Raptors lost to that Clippers game. They lost them on a home before they went on this trip. Then they lost to the Lakers. You're like, damn, we might be slipping. We might be in the play-in. with the 3 wins tonight, the Raptors are guaranteed a 3-2, at least 3 wins on this road trip. I mean, I don't think they'll beat OKC, but like a winning Western Conference road trip for any Eastern Conference team is very, very impressive, man. Because like the Knicks have come out west, they've like their season like derailed on a Western Conference road trip. I've seen the Pistons struggle on a Western Conference road trip. I don't even think the Celtics have done a West road trip yet. But like, like these long Western Conference road trips are like the graveyards for teams, man. And for the Raptors to have come with the last 3 wins is been really, really big. So. A nice young big, duck the tax, call it a day. Sometimes you're hot, you just gotta keep rolling. So after tonight, Scottie is now league leader in stocks. Nice. Congratulations. He's played great with a lot of that stuff. It's on Brandon to nail the passes to the open guys so these double teams become less effective. Yeah, I think that's fair. We talked about that in the previous year as well. I think Brandon is he wants to absorb as much of the pressure as possible before which gives more time and more space for the guy to get open. But sometimes he gets overwhelmed and loses that battle. I think it's just to find the right balance, and also guys got a space around him. Like it's a whole bunch of things. But yes, I do think he can be better playing on the double teams. What does Toronto need to do to compete against OKC on Sunday? I mean, they'll give it their best shot. I mean, the Raptors, it's not a bad time to play OKC. Like OKC is like not rolling the way they were to start the season. They had a bit of a blip. They just lost tonight, for example. They lost to the Pacers down the stretch. Pacers were leading by double digits, and then Shea like popped off. I mean, Shea had 45 tonight. 47. Sorry, my bad. 47 for the rating MVP. Like he was absurd. But yeah, I mean, like like they're down Jalen Williams, so they kind of only have one score right now with Shea. They're defensively gonna swarm you. You just got to live with the fouls, whatever. But I don't know. I actually think the Raptors have an okay shot. Like obviously OKC is gonna be a huge favorite, but I'd be interested because the Raptors have the small ball stuff and like the OKC is a small ball team. Obviously, they got to do whatever they can against Shea. I wouldn't even be opposed to just blitzing and double teaming Shea the whole game, and sort of living with the rest of it. But I mean, that's easier said than done too. Again, this guy literally had 47 points and was single handedly doing anything he could. So, but actually, against another small ball team, I think Raptors actually match up really well with these small ball teams. So we'll see. I'm certainly looking forward to that game as well. Yeah, Ochai and Gradey were both really good tonight. Makes a massive difference to this team when even one of them is on. But that's the thing. It's like they can do this. Like nothing they did tonight was outside of their capabilities as a team. Like this is something they can do, and I just hope they find the rhythm and confidence to do it. Part of it is getting minutes and opportunity as well, but sometimes you earn those yourselves, and some of the best plays they make aren't even like knocking down a bunch of shots. It's like the hustle plays and their defense as well, so what is this? Marco said, did you notice that Grady's release on his made threes looks slightly different than usual, like a bit more fluid? Maybe I heard you calling him a slingshotter. I doubt he heard that, but I will be seeing Gradey when he comes back to Toronto at the end of this road trip. We're doing an event with Gradey on February 2nd, so maybe I'll ask Gradey a little bit about shot mechanics then as well. So we'll see. Scottie's a top 12 NBA player right now. I agree. I totally agree. That's not even gas. I think that's just real. Like that's just how well he's played, man. Someone said minus 20 degrees is damn weak. It's minus 38 with the wind chill in Winnipeg right now. Okay, first off, I don't know why. To be honest, like I would like to visit like most places in Canada. It's a beautiful country and there's a lot to see and I've been to like your classic places, Nova Scotia. Spent a little time around Halifax, did a little drive to what's that little island, or not the lighthouse thing that everyone does, pretty stereotypical stuff. Did a drive around Gaspé in Quebec, which was one of my favorite trips ever. Very beautiful if you get to drive just like the peninsula in Quebec. Very, very fun. Spent a ton of time in Quebec. I guess I've done a decent amount of things in Ontario, although I've pretty much all entirely Southern Ontario. Been to Calgary a couple times. Been to Banff a couple times. That's been fun. Been to Vancouver very briefly. Um, for well, I guess about a week. So it wasn't too brief, but yeah. Um, but no, never been to Manitoba. And if you're telling me it's -38 with wind chill, I'm sorry, dog. I'm not going. I am not going, man. Why do you guys live like this? I don't understand. My lips are cracking. My skin is dry. Like today, it got so like dry in my house. I had to like just boil a pot of water for like half an hour just to like increase the humidity beyond like 20%. It was like it's too much, man. It's too much, bro. Like it's I don't know. Maybe I'm not built for this, man. Because I'm even the part where I'm from in China. Like I'm from northern China, so like it snowed. Like I have pictures of me building snowmen, as a kid, But it was like normal snow. Like it's like I guess like my hometown was like like maybe like -10 once in a while. You know what I mean? It wasn't too bad. Like there's some parts of northern China that are like -20 as well, especially if you go out west. But like yeah, I don't know, man. This is a special level, bro. This is like when it gets to -20, I'm like, I can't. What am I gonna do? It's a natural disaster outside. I can't leave. I just gotta stay in the house and eat everything I have. You know what I mean? I'm not even want to go outside to get eggs or whatever. So, we also got another $8 Australian dollars from Tom Goga with Mamu. A fellow countryman will also help Mamu re-sign, hopefully on a friendlier team deal. I actually do think that like if you trade for Goga, it actually kind of cuts against Mamu's budget to sign him because Goga's on the books for $8 million next year. Versus right now, you're basically giving Ochai's expiring money to Mamu to sign with. So ironically, it'll actually cut against him. But I wouldn't really mind, pairing the two Georgians together. Robo Gym TV sent in $2. Will needs to visit Nunavut. Why? I mean, in the wintertime, I mean, definitely, like everyone else, I've seen some of those videos where, what's that guy, man? Who's that like white guy with the glasses who like goes into the wilderness and like is always making like bread on like a rock and like surviving like -50 with like no tent or whatever. Outdoor Boys, that guy, right? Like so I like it looks beautiful up there. Like I'll be like, yeah, like it would be kind of cool to like maybe see like some of the northern territories, but I don't know, man. it's freaking me out. Like even just -20 right now is freaking me out. I'm sorry. Like I don't really want to go outside at all. So it was a meme donation. Oh, that's fair enough. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was not gonna take the $2 and spend it towards a trip to Nunavut. But all due respect to all the people in Nunavut. Do we have any fans in the territories? I truly wonder. So okay, this has been fun. Before we go, actually, and before we hand out the 3 stars, I was reminiscing over this season, and we've been talking a lot of big picture. Obviously, tonight was a great win. The big picture has been really nice too. But you think about the whole season and how the Raptors have been, man. Raptors, it's been a nice year. It really has been. It's been really fun. It's been chilly outside for sure, and of course. Coors Light is the chill choice, and staying chill is always a winning play. Okay, it's cold as hell outside, but I think that's actually one of the nice hacks. You can actually just put you don't have to crowd your fridge no more. You could literally just put it out back. Okay, put the Coors Light in the back, and if you go outside right now, especially if you're in Toronto and you're looking at that Coors Light can, that thing is gonna be turning blue. Okay, it's gonna be turning blue like Frodo's sword in Lord of the Rings. Okay, and that's gonna tell you that first off the temperature, but also the Coors Lights themselves will be as cold and as crisp and as refreshing as the Rockies themselves. So when the game heats up, why not make the chill choice by grabbing a crisp, refreshing Coors Light? Find Coors Light near you. Visit CoorsLightShop.ca. Celebrate responsibly, and you must be of legal drinking age. All right, let's kind of wrap out here because it's been fun. It's been fun to just hang out with all of you in the chat. Let's hand out the 3 stars. And let's kind of get going before this. Oh yeah, Will, acknowledge that this podcast is being broadcast on native land. Of course, man. Of course. I think that's especially honestly. I'm not trying to compare it to the States too much because the States do a horrible job with this. But I think one of the beautiful things, especially when I was visiting in Vancouver and going to the museums. I love going to museums, and I thought Vancouver did a great job of just like at least like celebrating and showcasing the heritage of all the native peoples who are able to be on the land there, and learning about the history and the culture and the artwork and just the way of life, and even seeing how some of that is still existing to this day, and how that sort of grew with the people there. And same thing in Quebec, actually. Quebec does there's difficult colonial histories. I'm not trying to say that like, oh, they've done a great job celebrating the histories. Obviously they were like very complicit in some of these things, but yeah, I really, especially as somebody who really enjoys learning about history and learning about like different cultures and stuff like that, like I was like, it was very impressive seeing how, like, I don't know, the just the native peoples and their traditions were carried out, and still spoken about to this day. And I'm not speaking about them like they're gone. Like obviously, they still, they're integrated in our communities, and we're very grateful to work on their land as well. But I don't know. I just thought, even coming back to Ontario after some of these trips, I was like, I wish we did more of that in Ontario to sort of like highlight sort of the work and the history a little bit here as well. Because I was really impressed with sort of like learning about what it was like on the West Coast. I mean, incredible Haida culture as well. But yeah, same thing in Quebec as well. So I don't know. I wish really sometime that we heard about it more in Ontario as well. But it's certainly better than the States. I'm not gonna lie to you, because you go to the States, it's like hardly ever acknowledged. You know what I mean? So that part's really sad. And yeah, especially as someone coming from China as well. Like that's actually something that's like I remember. I mean, I was only there for like 7 years before coming here, but I just remember all the time learning about like the minority groups, and obviously China is like, I think like 90% like Han Chinese at this point, but like there's like 50 minority groups in China, and there's like different cultures, and China's also a very ancient place as well. And just I don't know, especially for someone as a history buff and someone as like who really is interested in like cultural migrations and cultural patterns and how that sort of persists to the current day. Like it was, I don't know, I guess I was just really primed to sort of learn more about that in Canada as well. Sometimes we think about Canada as like only having the history for like the last, like, I don't know, I guess whenever they start teaching you in social studies, like probably like 1700, like, oh, Leif Erikson came to Canada, and then like those other explorers, like they sailed down the St. Lawrence or whatever. But like, there's more history beyond that too, and I really do enjoy learning about them as well. So anyway, 3 stars from tonight's game before we wrap up and get out of here. First star, honestly, just based on the key matchup tonight, it was Sandro, so I'm gonna give it to Sandro. 22 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Had to battle the beast that was Donovan Clingan. Shot 9 of 15 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. Did a lot of great work on both ends of the floor, but in particular offensively, because that's where the Raptors really, really needed to solve the mismatch, and Sandro made it a mismatch for the Blazers, and that was basically the big key in the game. Second star, we give it to IQ. I thought IQ played great. It's been great seeing IQ sort of just like find a nice little rhythm and consistency here, find his confidence as well. I guess that's what happens when you have one of the most efficient 40 balls ever. But yeah, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists for IQ, 9 of 15 shooting for him as well. Super efficient, ran the point really well. Played good defense as well too, man. IQ's defense has also been pretty noticeable on this trip, man. But yeah, IQ was great. And then your third star, I mean, you could really go a bunch of different places with this, but I'm gonna give it to Gradey. I thought Gradey's 2 shifts were super impactful. I don't think the Raptors win this game without Gradey Dick and the way he played tonight. So, happy for Gradey to see him turning around, and just want to see the team build as a group and continue to find more momentum collectively. Your Gerald Henderson award, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I got to give it to Jrue Holiday. I mean, man, like, Jrue was awesome, man. In 22 minutes, and so he played limited minutes because it was a back-to-back, and he's old. But, like, 21 points, 7 assists, 9 of 14 shooting in 22 minutes, and he played great defense. Like, Jrue Holiday was an absolute killer, man. He was great. So, yeah, thanks all for listening. I appreciate you guys. Raptors will play again on Sunday, so just stay indoors all weekend. Don't leave ever, and yeah, just enjoy the winning season, man. It's been a really fun time.